Coach Dave Academy. My name is Suellio Almeida. We're going to see my lap with the Porsche Cup at Spa. We're going to see the entire lap, and then we're going to talk about corner by corner. All right, so going into the first corner, the first thing that you should really know is how the grip changes in each stage of the corner. So under initial braking here, we're actually on a compression, so we can brake pretty hard. Initial braking, right now, I actually use the little end of the dirty part of the track. I don't really like looking at the 100 board because it's a little bit too far away, so it doesn't give you like a very precise braking reference. I prefer looking somewhere very close to the car. So marks on the track are great for that. I really like them. Make sure you're using something that is like fixed on the track that doesn't change, like skid marks. These like smaller skid marks are actually part of the track texture in iRacing, so you can use them because they never change. But if it's like a skid mark from someone else, then of course you should not use that because it's going to be in a different place every time. So braking very hard initially here, but then we actually need to release the brakes quite quickly as we start turning in, because right now, actually, another thing that I use as a reference here is this little dirt. You see? This really gives me an idea of how far I am on the corner. I try to at least like slightly touch it. And then at this point, we're falling. So at this point, we have a little bit less grip. So that's why I release the brakes quite quick. But then towards the inside here, there's going to be a little bit more grip. We're going to actually fall on kind of a hole that really grips the car. So you get a little bit extra grip. We want to be as close as possible to the wall here and then get back on power. As soon as we get on this compression, after, we're going to actually jump a little bit because the compression gives you grip, but then right after you actually bounce up, so you lose all that grip. So it's like lots of grip and then immediately no grip. So you want to kind of go straighter and plan to use all the track to prevent any overshear. Every time you snap here, guys, it's after this. So you hit this, there's absolutely a lot of grip. But then here, when the car gets light, this is where you snap. So make sure you're paying attention to these changes in grip, because some corners have 4, 3, 5, like different changes in grip in a single corner. So then we go to Eau Rouge. Very important here to use a lot of the left limit here. We don't really do that a lot, but if you look at this crack right here, this little crack, you see there's a crack that is parallel to the white line. That is the off-track sensor. So you actually want to be very close to that. like right here, it kind of projects all the way down here. So I'm here on the limit, and then from here we can get a better line when we start turning in. Also, when you're going up, right now you have lots of grip. Right now, because of it's a compression. So compression, 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 compression until here. Then we start falling. Now there's no grip. There's no grip. We're falling, we're falling, we're falling. The car starts sliding all the way to the outside. And then right here, we are pretty close to the off track, but we still actually had a little bit more room here. The off track, you can think something like the 4 tires to the left of this second layer of the curb here, this white, this like dirty white part. And then on the outside here, the off track is whether you have 4 tires or not on the drain. So you said this little drain here, this is where the off track sensor is. So you actually want to have the car with 2 tires still on the drain or slightly left to the drain. If you have like 4 tires to the right of the drain, you get an off track. And look, it's funny thing here is that at this point the drain shifts. It's not here, it's now here. And the off-track sensor also changes, which means you have to be back with 2 tires on the white line so you don't get like an off-track here. So as you can see, I'm coming back. And there you go, I'm free from the off-tracks. Then we go for Les Combes. Make sure you're not really on the white line here yet. Why is that? Because we want to be a little bit on the middle of the track. We want to use that curb, so we point to the outside, kind of a little bit diagonally to make sure we use all of this curb here. There you go, braking on a totally straight line, and then from here we start turning. And really aim for this second layer of the curb. We have the first one that is actually off camber, that's going to push you wide. You're going to understeer a lot. And this second one really pulls the car into the corner, so you gain a lot of time if you use it. And we're going to do the same thing on the second one here, so we change direction and use all of it. And then we want to stay not more than the middle here. We don't want to use the right half of this track because the next corner is going to be way more important. So what you want to do is already bring the car here, and then you just slow down a little bit to make this corner much quicker. Then if you go here to the right, then you're going to have to really brake kind of like hard to do this one, which makes you lose a lot of time. Then we keep going to Brussels. Here, it's a downhill braking, so what you want to do really is be patient on the turn in. It's going to be a very elliptical line. So you turn in very gently, almost nothing, and then still almost nothing. But then you start progressively and exponentially turning more the steering as you are mid-corner. But initially, this initial part of the trail braking is very, very subtle, elliptical. It's like you turn almost nothing, and then finally you start turning a lot more. It's not like a circular thing where you have like a fixed radius. It's actually increasing the radius. So initially it's like almost no steering as you trail brake very heavily, and then right here we start turning a lot more. And then finally on the second apex, we get actually halfway between the first apex and the second apex, which is here. We get back on power. So first apex, point back, power. Second apex, let the car run to the outside, but not that much because you already want to bring the car back to the right to do this no-name corner as quick as you can. And then a little trail brake, use the second layer here, get back on power, and allow the car to go all the way to the outside until you have 2 tires pretty much almost on the drain, but not on the drain. Or if it's on the drain, it has to be at least like half of the tire should be to the left of the drain, to the inside. On the way back, you can pretty much touch the dirt there. Then for Pujon, for braking reference, I really use these skid marks. They are fixed in the track, so you don't really have to worry about whether they change or not. I really use them as a reference. Yeah, as you can see, I'm starting to brake at the first one there. Boom, here. And then very elliptical, very progressive steering. You don't want to turn in very quickly because you're going to lock the fronts pretty bad. You want to be very, very patient. Get back on power. Now light hands. The car is going to start to want to lose the rear. So you're just like maintaining that state of the car, kind of almost going sideways. And then right here, same thing. You want to brake kind of diagonally to the outside to use all the track, and then have a slightly better line here. We don't want to really use this curb, but as soon as we change direction, we do want to try using this second layer here because it really pulls the car and gives you a nice rotation. And on the outside, same thing. Just don't put 4 tires on the drain. Then here, same thing. You brake towards the outside. You want to use all the curb and then turn in. This is an exception. We don't want to necessarily use this second layer here. It kind of works, but it's not very beneficial. So you have to try which one is more consistent for you. Make sure when you get back on power, you allow the car to go all the way to the green and you stay there. You stay there because you have to use this entire track for the next right-hander right here. That's super important. And on the outside, same thing, just let 2 tires on the inside of the drain so you don't get the off track. Then we go to Blanchimont and just a tiny break and then straight back to the power to make sure you get this nice rotation with the power. And then right here, same thing. Be careful with the drain here. It actually turns pretty aggressively to the left, so you want to come back before that so you don't get an off track. And then for the last corner, same thing. We have the 150 here, but it's too far. I don't like using it. I prefer to use this dirty part on the track. It gives me a nice idea. You can also use, actually, it's funny that I'm looking at that dirty part, but I'm starting to brake at this white line. So this white line is the best reference ever because it's very easy to see. Even if you're fighting for position, you're on the inside, you can see the white line. You can use that as a braking reference. Very patient, kind of late turn in. I actually missed a little bit of the sausage curb here. As you can see, it could be like probably a full tire on the inside. And a little bit of throttle and then straight into trail braking, change direction quite aggressively. And then back on power, allowing the car to go all the way to the green here. So you have the best exit possible, which will be very important because it counts for the last lap and also for the start of the next lap. So that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I will see you next week.